Hello there. So, you're getting paid to do a job. Shouldn't that just be enough? Or should we be intentionally focused on creating cultures where our workforce is happy? We're, we're going to talk about all of that today. On creating cultures where our workforce is happy. We're going to talk about. Oh my goodness. All right, everybody, pause for 1 second. We've got to figure out what's happening here with our technical difficulties as they continue. All right, there we go. All right, Rhonda, exhale, rewind. We're going to start again. All right. So, hello, everyone. Welcome. So, you're getting paid to do a job. Shouldn't that just be enough? Or should we be intentionally focused on creating healthy, happy workforces? We're going to talk about all of that today. And we're going to talk about 2 strategies that you can use to make sure that you are on the road to creating a happier, more empowered, healthier workforce. So, take a deep breath. Let's lead above the grind. Great day, everyone. Great day. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. We have an amazing guest that's going to be joining us today. She's been having some internet issues, so she's popping in and out. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So super excited that you're here with us. Welcome to the Coffee with Rhonda show, another episode. This is episode 75. Wow. We're just climbing away. And today we're going to talk about what we can do to create more empowered cultures and workforces. How do we prioritize well-being in the workplace? So that's going to be our conversation today. Before we get into all of that, we'd like you to do a couple of housekeeping items. Don't forget that we are growing our YouTube page. So if you have an opportunity to go to coffeewithrhondashow.com and subscribe to our YouTube page, we would greatly appreciate it. Number 2, don't forget to comment, have discussions with us through this conversation. Your comments and your thoughts really help power our conversation. So we want to hear from you. And then lastly, don't forget to share and like the video, because I can promise you there will be something said during this discussion that someone else will benefit from. So with all of that being said, my name is Rhonda Y. Williams, and I'm your host for the show, and I'm super excited to be joining you today. I help servant leaders reduce stress and expand their skill set so that they can get much bigger, better results on a much more consistent basis. If you want to learn more about what we do at Leadership Above the Grind, Mentoring and Coaching Academy, you can visit eliteleaders.net and we can share more with you there. So let me see if I can get our guest up. All right. We're going to hope that her video and audio are okay. And so in the meantime, let's get our co-host to introduce. Hello, Mireille. Good evening to you.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. This is Mireille, the GreatNet engineer with you, and you probably know me by now. I'm an engineer, but I'm also all about greatness. So I make sure that people understand that they have greatness inside of them and step into this greatness. I help them to get the result that they want by basically unleashing this greatness. I'm also the CEO of MT Energy Resources. And today I have water in my cup. So I'm ready I don't have to be to bring the coffee. I am ready for this conversation, which is quite an important one right now. So welcome, everyone.
Thank you so much, Mireille. Look, I'm moving so fast. We had some technical difficulties to start, so it sort of threw me off my game a little bit. I had to take a deep breath, and then we started with more technical difficulty. I forgot to share with you all that I have my cup. This is my cup. I have my coffee with Rhonda cup, my black mug today, and that in my cup today I have a cinnamon mocha coffee today, and so
Mhm.
that's what I have in my cup. When our special guest gets back, I want to have her introduce herself. And we're going to really dive into this conversation about creating more empowerment, more empowered cultures. Also, I want to remind you that at the end of the show, towards the end of the show, we'll be doing our top two. This one might be a little bit more challenging. So I want to give everyone a heads up. I don't want you to share it with us yet, but later on, we're going to ask you for your top two favorite quotes. Your top two favorite quotes. And then we will ask you to share that with us later. So hold on to that later. I just wanted to give you a chance to get your thoughts together around that. And let's see if we can introduce our special guest. Uh-oh, she's popping in and out. I think she's having internet issues. Oh no. Listen, technology has not been kind to
Yeah.
us this morning.
And I think it's gonna test your stress skills today. So that's a good, live way of testing, that your the stress management strategies are actually working.
Yeah, let's put that stress-free leader to the test today. So for sure. So I want to say hello, good morning to a couple of people out there. So Regina's out there. Good morning, everyone. It's Regina from New Jersey. I have coffee in my cup. What a pleasure to be here. Good morning, Regina. Mom is there. Good morning, Mom. Very excited to be here this morning. Blueberry lemonade in my cup this morning. Oh, wow, Mom. You always have the most interesting things
Mhm.
in your cup. That sounds delicious. Melvin's out there. Hello, brother. Hello, hello. Thank you so much for tuning in. And Michael is out there. Hey, Michael. Great to see you today. Good evening, ladies. Rock away as usual. We're going to be looking forward to your comments in this conversation as well, Michael. I'm going to try to get our special guest back on so she can say hello to you all and introduce herself. Hi, Phetso. Can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. Yes.
So great to have you. I know. Finally, when I tell you all that technical challenges this morning have been running rampant, please believe me when I tell you. So, Phetso, why don't you introduce yourself and tell everyone who you are, what you do in the world, and then share with us what you have in your cup.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Phetso Ntsowe. I'm currently in Ghana, so it's 30 minutes past 5
Oh,
right
you're
now.
breaking up a little bit.
I'm breaking up.
Okay, I can hear you now. Try it again.
Okay, I don't know what's going on with my Wi-Fi today, but I'm currently just sitting next to the router. Am I still audible?
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you well now.
Okay, great. So yes, I'm in Botswana. I'm a transformational coach. I love women empowerment. I work with the youth. I enjoy reading, listening to music, and interacting with people, getting to know people, what they like, and really forming rewarding relationships. And in my cup, I have my cup of coffee right here. It's
Uh-oh.
Mhm.
We lost you at the end. We heard everything up to the cup, and so you're in Botswana. I want to be sure that everyone caught that piece of information. And Fatsa, what time is it there for you?
It's 5:15.
Okay, all right, 5:15 for you. So thank you so much for joining us. Let's dive into our conversation today because today we really want to talk about creating cultures that are empowered. Years ago, we started to shift away from using the term happy employees.
Mhm.
The prevailing wisdom was that we did not need employees to be happy, but we wanted them to be empowered, right? So we shifted away from happy employees to empowered employees. There seems to be a bit of a trend where we're shifting back. And in moving back the other way, some recent studies have shown that happy employees are 20% more productive. And so organizations are beginning to look at this and go, so, oh, okay, so maybe we do need our employees to be happy and what that means and what that looks like. So I want to say hello to Dorothy. Hi, Dorothy. Thanks so much for joining us. It's so great to see you. Look forward to your comments during this as well. And then Michael said, technology humbles the best of us. Don't sweat it. You are doing just fine entertaining us. Thank you so much, Michael. Oh my gosh, it's been a while since we've had these kinds of tech challenges on the show, but it's all good. We're here and we're moving forward. So here's what I want to share with you right now. I want to share with you some reasons why companies should be thinking about happier workplaces. And then Phetso and Mireille, I want to get you all to react to this, right? To what you're seeing here, and then add your own spin on why creating happy, healthy workplaces and cultures is something that every single organization should be focused on. So I'll share that with you after we share this graphic. Right? Particularly given the contribution of your practices and policies. So, Mireille, let's come to you, and then I want to go to Phetso and get you all to really expand on this for us a bit. So, Mireille, what did you see and those reasons that really resonates with you?
One of the reasons that resonate with me is the productivity and the fact that they bring more value into your organization, and that's key, and you really want to make sure that the happiness is there to get the benefit from this added value that they bring. And I actually had an experience that in my last job. I had a woman. Nobody could do anything with her. I mean, she would refuse to. She would just do whatever she wanted to do and do the bare minimum. And I actually find you created the environment to talk to her outside the office and understand exactly why, she had this, this attitude. And from this conversation, it actually opened up that she actually had, problem herself at home. And that was a way to react, in the office. And this reaction was obviously creating problem in the team. And as soon as she could actually explain to me and I could be understanding, she became the happiest member of the team. And it made a difference, because our projects were really now getting delivered on time. There was a better atmosphere. She was basically the bottleneck, and just having to switch, understand what she's going through and making her happier. It actually translated into, productivity being improved for the team. So it is very important that we work with happy people, because it can be detrimental not only to us but also to the organization.
Such a powerful story, Mireille. Thank you for sharing that, because it illustrates perfectly how we have to be able to show up and bring our whole selves to work. And when we're able to do that, then we're more productive, we're happier, we feel better, more understood. Phetso, what stood out for you in some of those reasons?
Thank you, Rhonda.
Oh, I can't. We're losing your audio.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you. You came across very clear then.
Okay, great. So empowering influence, bring in bottom line comment. So if you may allow me, Rhonda, I would like to just switch it a little bit.
Oh, Phetso, your audio isn't good. I know you're saying something incredibly valuable and important, and I want people to be able to hear you. And it's breaking up almost like every other word. We're not able to hear you. And so, yeah, she's going to go out and come back in. So, Mireille, let's continue and we'll bring Phetso back when she gets back in. One of the things that stood out for me on that is at the end of the day, it is our responsibility to create environments where our teams can feel mentally healthy, right? That we are not creating these stressors in the environment that really cause our team to not be able to engage well and to be stressed and frustrated and overwhelmed. I don't know, Mireille, if many organizations really look at that responsibility seriously and incorporate it into the work that they do.
I mean, it's difficult, especially with the kind of environment that we are in right now. It's all about speed. It's all about KPI. It's all about the what we gain without really thinking about the input, because the input is all the people that are actually working. So how do they, and that's the problem, is that there's a lot of uncertainty, there's a lot of volatility, which translate into organization not really going and making sure that they look at how the employee are doing and how they are feeling, and they just make the only thing that is important for them is the outcome, and making sure that they get more and more, but without knowing that, whatever comes out, it's the of what's coming. So you have to make sure that what's coming is actually, good. So the work that you want your people to do, you have to make sure they do it happy, and they do it in a state of mind that will actually help you to deliver.
Absolutely. So we think about task. We don't think about state of mind. We don't talk about emotion. Yeah, at least here in the States, we don't really bring emotion into the equation. We think, well, this is work. Leave the emotion out of it at home and focus on that. We have a really good question, and let's see if we can respond to this. So Sujan said, how does individual mindfulness play a part in organizational transformation? I think that's a really great question, because there is this element of ownership by the individual person for, really stepping into what's happening for them, right? And really having them be able to own their own emotional state. But I think, Sujan, that connects to having an empowered workforce. So if you feel, and let me bring Phetso back in. And Phetso, we are responding to this question that Sujan raised. How does individual mindfulness play a part in organizational transformation? When you create empowerment across the organization, you open up lines of communication, right? And when those lines of communication open, now you can have a flow and exchange back and forth that allows people to step into what they're feeling and what they're experiencing. So, Sujan, when I think of mindfulness, I'm thinking, what's happening for me in this moment, right? What's coming up for me in this moment? How am I feeling? And am I able to comfortably express that and own my own feelings, right? Because my feelings are my own, and I should not be blaming others for my feelings. But I want to be able to say what's happening for me, and then and then what I can do with that from there. But if the lines of communication are not open, so let's see if we can hear you, and if you can respond to some of this question by Sujan as well.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Technology sometimes really is frustrating. Yes, absolutely. And for me, Rhonda, it's about the employer creating that safe environment for the employee to feel at home, for the employee to be able to show up at the workplace. So it's important that for me to be mindful at my workplace, I need to feel like I'm safe, I'm in the right environment. So yeah, I definitely agree with what you just said. And again, maybe to add, it's important that as individuals, you work towards this as well yourself. You create the mindfulness. You don't wait for your employer to create that safe space. So as an individual, what can you do in your own little corner to make it a safe environment for yourself? So it's a relationship. It's both you, as the employee, and the employer coming together to create that safe space.
I love that. Thank you so much for adding that, because it's a unity, right? It's a coming together. I love the process of transforming organizations through this process, because there's this awareness that happens where typically the leaders are thinking, of course it's safe. What do you mean? Yeah, you can, of course, we're open and you can, but then often on the other side, the employees and the team is feeling, yeah, no, it's not that safe, right? I don't really feel like I can speak up and say those things. So Mireille, I want you to respond to Joe Beck's comment here. She says, creating a safe environment will result in a culture of employee contribution to the mission, increasing buy-in, increasing positive work environment, and resulting in happiness. So Joe Beck, what I hear you saying is it's a process, right? And Mireille, I want you to respond to that.
Yeah, it is a process, because and it's like Phetso was saying, it's a collaboration. So in a collaboration, you want to be able to be safe. It's an environment, because if it's not safe, you don't collaborate. So it's important to create this safety for each one of us, and then from the safety you become to open up, and you become to really be linked to the mission, because otherwise, when you're not safe, the mission doesn't mean anything to you. So you really need to get, this safety and communicate properly. And the communication must be about including what the person is all about, including what the person can bring, not just a mission that is, that is not actually connecting with your employees. I think that's also something that the leaders need to make sure. And happiness. I mean, I gave you the example of this, the direct report that I was, managing back then. It's just amazing what you can do when people are happy. They can actually work and deliver more than you ask them, because they're just happy to do whatever they do. They feel safe. They are happy. So the positive energy is what comes out of everything that they do for the team.
Absolutely, Mireille. So Sujan is saying exactly that. Is so true, that when you are creating that space and you have allowed them to show up as their full selves, you are seeking to hear and understand them, then you have an opportunity to really get their buy-in, right? And then they're willing to go above and beyond, and that not, as you mentioned, with this direct report, not the bare minimum. So Sujan said, fantastic discussion. I feel this is a good starting point. I believe small units eventually construct the organization. So Sujan, if we start with your concept of small units constructing the organization, we start with an individual. That individual contributes to an energy and environment of a small unit and a small team. And then that small team feeds into the larger team, right? So absolutely, it's a constructive sort of building process that we go through. So Tamiako is here. She says, good morning, everyone in the DFW area, and I have water in my cup. Great to see you this morning, Tamiako. Let's do our greatness minute. I think I'm going to have to navigate and adjust some of what we would have normally done with all of our technical challenges. So we're going to move right to our greatness minute. And then after the greatness minute, what I want to talk about, Phetso and Mireille, are the two strategies that organizations can begin using to get to this happiness, right? Empowerment and also well-being, fostering well-being. We're going to talk about empowerment first. And what does it look like? How do we empower people so that they really feel like they have a voice and a contribution? So let's do the greatness minute. And then when we come back, let's talk about how we empower our people.
Hello, everyone. This is Mireille, the Greatness Engineer, with you today. Welcome to the Greatness Minute. So you must know by now that you have greatness inside of you. You've been listening to me for the last few weeks as part of this Greatness Minute, and I hope that you understand that you have this greatness, but don't sit on it. Don't sit on it. Your road to greatness starts now. It doesn't start tomorrow. It starts now. So make sure, no more drama, no more excuses, no more waiting for the right moment to start implementing something. Start planning now. Start putting all the resources that you need now. Start immersing yourself in the right communities, in the right environment. Start growing your knowledge. Start surrounding yourself with the right people. And stop just waiting for it to happen. It is your time. Step into your greatness, get moving and get going, because your journey to greatness starts now. So thank you for being with us today. See you next week.
Absolutely. Right now. No more drama, as Mireille said.
No more drama. Right? Now.
No more drama. So let's talk about that, right? If you're going to become great, let's talk about empowerment, right? And in this process, when you're thinking about empowerment, Phetso, what does that look like and feel like to you? Phetso? Uh-oh, she might be having internet challenges again. All right, so we'll wait for her to rejoin us. So Mireille, let's start with you then. When you think of empowerment, and I want everyone out there to begin thinking about this, what does empowerment look like for you? Think about your place of work, the folks that you manage. What does empowerment look like? So Mireille, what does that look like when for you in terms of the work that you do?
So in terms of the work that I do, and I think I mentioned it at the beginning of the Greatness Minute, I know that each one of us, we have something to give. We have something to give, but the problem that is, what the obstacle that we see is that not everyone is actually able to use this power, greatness that they have, and really contribute to, in the case of a team, contribute in the team. So it's important that we help them to get that out and bring the best of them on the table, really build on their strength more than on what they are lacking. And it's important to understand what are the strengths so that you can help to empower them to use this strength that is going to bring value to the team or to everything that they are doing. And for me, empowerment is really using your own power and use it to create, value externally for other people, or for to grow as an individual. And for me, that's really the way I see it. And with the women that I work with, they are exceptional women, but you see them sometimes not really stepping into their power. So and they can do great things, and so you need to be this, I would say this click that they need to really start to spread and use it to go to the next level. And that's for me the empowerment.
I love that. So that they have greatness within you, and you're really just doing the work of supporting and bringing that greatness out. So I want to talk, when I'm thinking about empowerment, let me first read Sujan's comment. Nations, communities, and groups all represent the collective sum of all individuals. Thank you, everyone. Absolutely. This is a powerful conversation, because right now, folks are looking specifically for workplaces and work opportunities, collaborative opportunities where they feel empowerment. And Joe Betts says a safe environment has to come from the top. If individual teams create a culture of trust and collaboration, but the top does not foster that safe environment, it will sabotage that safe environment within those different teams. And then you all of a sudden now, instead of that happy team, you have an unhappy team or a toxic environment. So really important comments, Joe Beth, because it has to go through all levels of the organization, from the top and the bottom. Everyone has to foster and feel this sense of empowerment. Michael says you can empower the workers and give them authority to make decisions on what will happen, but the results of those decisions is still your responsibility. You can give away authority, but the leader can never give away responsibility. Michael, that's spot on, because that's where I was going to go next with empowerment. When I'm thinking about a team or a culture, whether they feel empowered, one of the questions I ask is, who is the decision maker? Who has the ability to make decisions within this team? And in some sort of top heavy organizations, the decision always rests with the top leader, whoever that person is. What happens when we decentralize decision making? When you empower people across the organization to say, I hire people that are talented, smart, engaged, they understand our mission, they're committed to our values. So yes, I trust you to make the decisions that are in the best interest of the organization. What an incredible space to operate in. There's an example that I want to share here. The Four Seasons actually empowers their entire workforce, and they do it by saying one thing. There's one statement that they use, and that is, do whatever you think is right. Do whatever you think is right. How incredible is that, to have that level of trust throughout the organization to say, don't lean on policy. I cannot tell you how many times people are frustrated because they say, well, this is our policy, or this is our process, or this is the way we do it. When you know in your heart that what that person really needs from you at that moment is something that's not in the policy. So for the Four Seasons to say, do whatever you think is right, Mireille, what do you think of that?
No, it's powerful. And I've worked in a team where, our leader was actually not the one making the KPI or the business plan for us. It would just bring us together and say, okay, what thing needs to be done, create the plan. The only thing I'm going to do is to make you accountable for that. So then you feel really empowered. And then at the end, if you don't deliver, that's not a target that the leader actually set. It's a target that you set as a team. So you can't actually say that you're not being empowered, or you can't actually blame the leader. And I think this is, in line with what you're saying, is that do what you feel is right, put it into, a working plan and a KPI. And then as a leader, I'm going to be the one, accountable, because I think we talked about the accountability, which is still, with the leader. So that's a very important point to make, is that yes, you can empower, but at the end of the day, the accountability still come back to the leader that is, leading the team.
Such an important point, and a really great ad, Michael. Joe Bev. Crazy Wi-Fi issues again. I was like, what in the world? What in the world today, people, with this internet and this technology? I can't even. But anyway, what would happen? So Michael, Jobez, Sujan, Tamiako, everyone out there sort of listening to this, what would it be like if in your organization, your leader said to you, do whatever you think is right? What would that mean for how you treat your people, for how you support your team? If someone needs a mental health day or what have you, do they have to go through processes? If someone needs a new laptop, are there 85 different approvals that are needed to get them to what they need in order to do their job, right? How do we empower people at that level? And so Mom said, I love the concept of do what you think is right, as long as it's not confused with do what you want. Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah, Mireille, respond to that, because that could happen if you have not properly educated your workforce. So Mireille, what are your thoughts on that? Like, what happens if you have folks confusing do what you think is right with that means do what you want?
Yeah, and I think she's right, because people will think that because it did what's you think is right, you will do what you want. That's not what it's all about, and I think you still have to put boundaries when you talk about empowerment, because otherwise it becomes really an anarchy. It's everybody's just doing what they want, and at the end of the day, I mean, it's not creating the result, the result that we want. So it's important to say, do whatever is right, knowing as well that boundaries, which are the culture of the company, the values that the company stands for, and
Right.
have this limit, because otherwise it can go all over the place.
Yeah, absolutely. It could be a disaster if you don't do
Mm-hmm.
that well.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that all starts at the beginning, right? At the
Mm-hmm.
mission and the
Mm-hmm.
vision, and then how is that translated practically, and then giving your leader scenario. Like for instance, in this case, here's a scenario. Let's talk
Mm-hmm.
through it. What would it mean to do what you think is right in this situation, so that you're really giving them an opportunity to explore and understand what you mean when you say that concept. So Regina said, empowerment means to me that I am being the leader of my company. I can work with employees in a collaborating effort to create outcomes that are productive for the whole team. Absolutely. When you are empowering people, then there is a shift. It makes
Mm-hmm.
your job easier when you empower the entire team. And Joe Beth says
Yes.
technology as an entirely new element where systems are critical to the success of streamlining processes to increase revenue, decrease expenses, and achieve KPIs. So this system limits empowerment within those systems. It's interesting, Joe Beth. That's a good point, that technology can actually impact
Mm-hmm.
empowerment. And so each team really has to look at that. And then my next strategy for creating empowerment, Joe Beth, is you've got to ask the tough questions. You've got to ask the tough questions and be willing to respond to those, and be willing to hear the tough feedback that's going to come back. But that again says to people, we believe in you, we trust you, we honor you. We want to hear what's working, just like we want to hear what's not working. So I think that
Mm-hmm.
those two are really, really important. Joe Beth, thank you for that contribution. So empowerment, right? And thinking about what empowerment looks like in your team. But the second aspect that we talked about in terms of creating cultures that really are healthy and productive is well-being. Mireille,
Mm-hmm.
how do we bring well-being into the workplace? Like, what does it look like? And for those of you out there listening, what does well-being look like in your organization? If you're going to foster a healthy sense of well-being, what does that look like, Mireille?
uh, Well-being, I think it starts with listening to people, because sometimes when you don't feel okay, you don't feel well, you have to create a platform where people can actually express how they feel, and then you bring the support to them, and I think that's a key thing to set up, because if you don't listen, and I think if you're fit to listen, you don't actually know what's going on, you don't actually know how people feel, and you might take some action that are actually going to worsen the situation. So it's important to have an environment where there is a safe environment where people can talk about how they feel, how they how things are going for them on the work, on the work, in the work environment, but also outside, outside work, because it impacts what they are producing in the what they bring in the team. So that's for me the most important thing, is being able to have a safe environment, being able to listen without judging, and being able to provide the support as well that is needed. Have a expert that can actually handle, if people are not really feeling well, and it's something that you can't actually handle. Have a safe environment and expertise ready to help them to go to the to address what they go through, and also create an environment where they're happy, because we're talking about happiness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have this happiness, well-being is part of it. So that's I think some of the key things that I look at when it's about when I hear about well-being.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's all connected, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's stepping back as an organization and saying, who do we want to be? Right? Who do we what, if we could fast forward into the future and have the absolute wonderful culture, what would that look like? Really being intentional
Mm-hmm.
about defining that culture. And then you
Mm-hmm.
begin to move into it with those pieces. Well, how are we
Mm-hmm.
doing here? How are we doing here? One of the things that you mentioned, Mireille, is having systems and processes to support people when they are not doing well. Many
Mm-hmm.
organizations have like an employee assistance program, EAP, as we often call it, but some people don't really understand what that means and the benefits and services. Most EAP programs offer wonderful services. You might be able to get 10 free counseling sessions, or
Mm-hmm.
membership to the gym, or all of these different things. But employees have to promote that as well and
Mm-hmm.
say, hey, don't forget this is a bit, don't just once a year during annual benefit time you list all the benefits. And this is what I'm used to seeing. You list all the benefits once a year. You say, hey, here's your benefit package. It's great and it's wonderful. And you never hear about it again. During
Mm-hmm.
the course of the year, nobody speaks about the fact that, hey, don't forget, we have this service available to support you. Hey, have you tried this? Hey, have you engaged in this service? So I think that is an important part of it. Those services you have available, promote them, advertise them, highlight them, share them with folks, because out of sight is out of mind. And if you only tell me once a year, in the moment that I'm in crisis, I'm probably not thinking about it because we haven't been talking about it and I haven't heard about it.
Yeah, and I think something that is important is to have checkpoints, even if you feel like nobody has a sign of not feeling well or not being happy. To have when we have, instead of having the employee feedback once a year, have some checkpoints regularly, just to to show that as a leader and as an organization, you really care about your people, and that's an important thing.
Absolutely. No, it is important to feel that caring, right? And caring is an action term.
Hmm.
So not just saying that, oh yeah, of course we care. Where does
Hmm.
that show up every day in your workspace,
Hmm.
in your workplace? So Michael said, when one person falters, another person picks up the project and finishes it. An empowered team is ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Absolutely, Michael. It's those ordinary, we're all just individuals, but together we can do so much. Um, Tamiyako said, Mireille, being supported and knowing that you are in a safe space within an organization is huge. And she also said, Rhonda, I agree that EAP should be promoted. If you don't stop and read deep into what the HR department offers, then you lose out on some great resources. Absolutely. And
Hmm.
we make the assumption that everyone knows. Of course,
Hmm.
everyone knows what's available. We tell them once a year, but no, we've got to be able to promote those processes that we have. Here's one other thing that I want to talk about with well being. Um, with well-being,
Hmm.
hold on, let me get a couple comments here. Sujin says, I feel there's still a lot an individual can contribute to this journey. I agree, leaders need to provide safe environment, but the individual awareness that happiness is individual responsibility. Sujin, yes, I absolutely agree. I think what we're really talking about is when you have system structures and processes that don't allow employees to show up as their best selves. Oh, Phetso is back. Let me get her back on screen. When you have individual employees that are not, or processes that do not allow people to show up and do their best work. If that is the
Hmm.
case, then yes, as an individual, I can be as happy as the day is long. However, when I am in this workspace, if I don't feel like I'm set up for success, we don't have open lines of communication. No one is taking care of each other. No one is promoting the resources we have available. Then 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to be a happy employee. I may be happy in my
Hmm.
outside and my world at home, but I'm not going to be happy within the walls of the organization. And therefore, I'm going to be looking to move. That's so welcome back. I'm so sorry that you're having the crazy technical challenges. Can you hear me? Fatso, can you hear me?
Hmm.
No, she's having
It
such.
doesn't. It's, yeah, such a lot of issues. And one
Well,
thing I wanted to ask, when we talk about talk about well-being, sometimes, organization have, psychologists, but we've made such a bad name to psychologists, because we look at psychologists as, when you have a crisis, or you're crazy, or you can't. But psychologists can actually be very positive, especially for your growth. It doesn't have to be, you don't just go and see the psychologist because you're feeling bad. It can actually help you to enhance, your positivity, and start to deliver even more. So I think that's also the way we present things, the way we present those services, and really come show it as a positive thing that will bring, a value to the team and into the rest of the organization.
No, I absolutely agree. Let's read Regina's comment. And she says, healthy well being to me means listening to your team or employees, understanding new thoughts and ideas, remembering diversity and inclusion, and a happy, warm environment is important as well. Absolutely, all of those things. Let's take just a moment to do something a little bit more fun. And let's do our top two, because we have been struggling with these technical challenges. And Phetso is an amazing leader with so much to share. And I'm so sorry that you all are not able to hear her contributions today, because I really wanted her to be able to contribute to this conversation, because I know it's one she's passionate about. So for that, we apologize for the technical challenges and difficulties today. So let's do our top two for today. And remember, I gave you a heads up. Let me give you a heads up again. So after we do our little intro here, so if you're out there listening, we want to know today, what are your top two favorite quotes? Your top two favorite quotes, or two quotes that really resonate with you. So we're going to do our top two and ask you to share those with us on the other side. So yeah, Phetso in the back channel said that it's a bad connection and her sound is not very clear. So we do apologize for that. So when we come back, tell us your top two favorite quotes right after this. Okay, so our top two favorite quotes. For me, Mireille, I was thinking about this. There are so many really good quotes out there. It's hard to choose two, but the two that I'll share today, and as I said, there are many. So if you're in the same position as me and you've got like a whole ton of favorite quotes, trust me, I get it. But just share two of them with us. One of my favorite quotes is by Milton Berle, and it is, "If opportunity doesn't knock, build a door."
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if opportunity doesn't knock, build a door. This goes to your greatness minute, Mireille, where you were saying, don't wait. It's today.
Mm-hmm.
Step into that right now. No drama, no excuses. There is no reason for us not to be leaning into our greatness. So his quote, "If opportunity doesn't knock, build a door." The second one for me is the quote by Maya Angelou. And this quote is, "When people show you who they are, believe them the first time." When people show you who they are, believe them the first time. The reason that quote resonates with me so much is because it helps me to take up a lot of my judgment and, what if and why and all of these things that can go through our heads. When you show me who you are, I'll believe you.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. If that's who you are, then that's who you are. There's really nothing for me to do with that other than to understand who you are. I don't need to judge it. I don't need to put you in a box or a category, but I need to trust that what you're showing me is you, right? And so I love those two quotes for those reasons. What about you, Mireille? What are your two quotes?
So I have two quotes coming from two French author. The first one is from Anatole France, and what Anatole France says is that to accomplish great things, you must not only act but also dream, not only plan but also believe. So it's important that you have a dream, but the action, taking action is very, very important to materialize this dream. And you need to have faith as well, a strong faith, which is the belief, so that it gives you the energy to to keep going, even when you step into obstacles or any challenges that comes with any great thing that you want to do. So that's the first one. The second one is more about the diversity, and it's from an author called Saint-Exupéry, and the quote is, "The one who differ from you, far from harming me, enriches me." So basically, you don't have to be the same. You always learn from whoever interact with. Whatever the person does, whoever the person is, even if it's your enemy, you always learn from this person. And that's something that I always do, is even in a situation where I have somebody challenging me or somebody not agreeing with me, I always want to look at, what do I learn from this person, from this situation? Because that's really what's gonna help me to grow and empower myself as well, since we're talking about empowerment.
Yeah, I love that. And you're right. So even when folks are challenging you, right, being able to lean into that and ask yourself the key question of, what can I learn from this situation, instead of sort of some of the other things that we tend to do, and sort of get frustrated and upset and disagreeable. So thank you for sharing your two. Michael's two are, creativity is intelligence having fun. Ooh, I love that, Michael. That's really great. And that's Einstein. And then the next one is, Michael says, don't let a rock in your shoe ruin the foundation you walk on. And that quote is by Michael Waiter. Michael, that sounds like you. Don't let a rock in your shoe ruin the foundation that you walk on. So thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing your two. Here's two from Regina. Les Brown, you got to be hungry. Absolutely. In other words, if you're not, then you're not leaning into your greatness. You're not stepping up. You're not trying to seek those happy, empowered places. And then the second one is, and every man and woman is responsible for their own happiness. And she said, I'm not sure where that one comes from. Thank you, Regina, for sharing your quotes with us. Joe Beth says, learn from the mistakes of others. Love that. You can't live long enough to make them all yourself. Oh, that is very powerful, by Eleanor Roosevelt. So let me read that again. Learn from the mistakes of others. You can't live long enough to make them all yourself. Really nice. Thank you so much, Jo Beth. And then Tamiyako says, tell me and I forget. Teach me and I remember. Involve me and I learn. Ooh, love that one, by Ben Franklin. That's really a great quote. And then she said, spread love wherever you go. Let no one ever come to you without leaving happier, Mother Teresa. Oh, wow. That one is one that resonates with me strongly as well. So we've had a good conversation. Any final questions from anyone out there on how organizations can create happier, more empowered, happier and healthier cultures? Two strategies that we talked about today are, number one, to empower your people. Look at your organization, figure out what that looks like. And the second strategy we talked about was fostering well-being, where people can bring their whole selves to work. So those are the two. We're going to move into our final wrap up in our What's in Your Cup segment. I can't believe the time has gone so fast. I don't know what to say about the technology today. And I must also say that our colleague, our coworker, our friend Roz is not with us today because she had technical issues, and I think they had some power outages or Wi-Fi outages or something in her entire area. So whatever it is in the air, right? It's in the atmosphere, and it is reaching us from Texas to Australia, to Botswana, to Florida, where Roz is, right? So whatever is happening out there is not just us. So just know that. So we're going to move into our wrap-up segment. Please, everyone, share what you took away from this conversation. And is there something that you can take back to your organization to really help them create happier cultures? That is the differentiator today. So Mireille, it's just you and I. So let's hold up our cups.
Yeah, it's and my cup doesn't. My cup doesn't.
Oh, there it is. Got it. Okay.
Oh my goodness. It's one of those days, isn't it?
It is. Well, let's do our little what's in your cup, and then we'll come up back, Mireille, and we'll get your final thoughts on this. If you're out there in the audience, start typing in your comments on your takeaways and your final thoughts for what we put in your cup today. As crazy as it was, as technologically challenging as it was, I am hoping that we still put something in your cup today. All right. So, Mireille, what do you want folks to walk away with today?
Well, it was, despite the technology, it was a great conversation, and there was, a lot of thanks to audience for participating. It's just amazing to the insight that came in. And for me, is really to make sure you empower your people and understand, what they are great at, because empowering them is bringing the best out of them. And that's important if you want, to your project to work. If you want to be successful as a leader, you can't do it on your own. You have to bring your team with you, and your mission and your vision has to be here. You have to make sure to communicate it to them so that they connect to it, they own it, and together you go and deliver this mission and reach the goal. So that's really, the key one. And it's about, empowering physically, spiritually, intellectually, because we're talking about, wellness. So that's the full package.
Absolutely, Mireille. And that full package is what has the opportunity to set you apart as an organization from others. If you want to attract top talent, retain top talent, have a happy, productive workforce, then these are things that you should be actively looking at. And they're not easy. I'm under no illusion that these things are easy to do, because of many times our systems and processes are rooted in history and time and everything. And it's a great time to really unlock and to be able to innovate around those. So let's get our final comments here. Cindy, mom says, yes, Michael, I love the rocking your shoe quote. Yes, that was absolutely a really good one. And Sujin said, great discussions. Thank you, Rhonda. You're so welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. We truly appreciate you. I really want to thank everyone out there. There's a Facebook user who hasn't authorized, I guess, them to show their name. So it just says Facebook user. So, hey, ladies, is all I see. I have no idea who that is. Sometimes it can be easier to watch on YouTube because you don't quite have some of those challenges. But I think I want people to take away from this that creating healthy, productive cultures is an intentional process. The executive teams need to be mindful and thoughtful about where they want to go with their organizations, what the current state is, and then strategies to intentionally close the gap, right? That's how we begin to move our organizations forward, to be able to have difficult conversations to say, this isn't working for us, or this doesn't feel good, or this doesn't feel safe. I don't really feel like I can speak up, and here's why. And really empowering folks to make decisions. If you as the leader are the one who's making all the decisions, I think you have an opportunity there. I will make no judgments about that, but I will say, I invite you as a leader to look at that. Who is making the decisions in your organization, and how would your job change if others were empowered to make those decisions? So there's a final comment from Joe Bess, who says, embrace the continual change of progress, involve stakeholders in shaping how to contribute as change continues, and continue to get feedback, give feedback, support one another during failures, and celebrate success. Joe Beth, thank you. Incredible ending there to our show. We really appreciate all of you and having these conversations with us, because we learn from you all as well as we are going through this process. Couple of finals. Regina said this topic is packed, locked, and loaded. Well, I make it a point to stay connected and mentally open to ideas and opportunities. I'll strengthen my communication and listening skills. It's her takeaway. Mom's takeaway is the ability of the show host. I've seen Rhonda and Roz carry the show. Today I saw Rhonda and Mireille with the same abilities. Excellent job. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was a challenging one today, all. Don't forget to share this video as my final request of all of you. There's someone out there who on your team needs to hear this. Just give them a heads up that they'll have to work through some technical challenges with us. But the meat, the content, the subject was really, really good. So, Mireille, I will see you we'll do a really short debrief today on the other side, just to be able to laugh and get something.
Short, yeah.
By the way, if you all are not a member of the Coffee with Rhonda Show tribe on Facebook, we actually post behind the scenes conversations. So after the show, we go into another room and we sort of do a quick debrief. We just sort of relax a little bit. And so those behind the scenes are posted in the Coffee with Rhonda Show tribe on Facebook. So go to Facebook, type in Coffee with Rhonda Show tribe, request to join the group, answer the questions, and then get behind the scenes with us and see what it looks like when we exhale at the end of the show. So for everyone out there, thanks so much for watching. We truly, truly appreciate all of you. Have a fantastic rest of your weekend, and we will see you back here for another episode of next week on the Coffee with Rhonda Show.